So our lineup is Beefinator, Terminator, and Plants. And here we're just checking out our enemy lineup first. So they're running a Plant, followed by an Aqua mid lane with Nemo and Hero Spain, as well as Goldfish. And their backline will be the standard Dust Terminator. Okay, so for this kind of team, our most efficient damage against their plants would be to use our Pocky on our plant, as well as the Tawny with the debuff on their plant as well. However, we actually lose our plant here because it was a mistake. I didn't play the pumpkin, and well, so we lose it in round 2 because I didn't expect them to put so much damage into my plant in round 2, and we lose it. So it puts us really behind. However, we do get the poison on both the aqua and the plant, which helps us to proc our Tawny for the 130% damage on debuff targets. So here we do a double Cuckoo to buff up the Tawny, and we hit the plant for 211 damage. So that's one of the most efficient attacks we can do on our Beefinator versus plants. And the double Tawny here does 151 damage each to the plant as well. So Tawny on a debuff plant is one of the most efficient damage we can do to a plant XC. So in this case, we managed to get a slow on the Aqua, which gives us a bit of a more level playing field. And you can see the strength of the Terminator mid laner here, because the Snail Shell actually buys us a lot of time. Gives us a decent shield, but mainly the Snail Shell provides stun on the enemy and buys us quite a fair bit of time. And also, we must be aware that this enemy lineup, because they are running Aquas and Terminators, they actually don't have a lot of efficient damage against our Double Dust on the mid lane and the back lane, which is why they are also struggling to take us down. It'll be a different story if they're running a Beast, because a Beast would be doing 15% more damage to our Dust, and they'll be able to take us down more efficiently. In the Beefinator versus Terminator lineup, whichever XE goes first gets the advantage. Whichever XE does more damage first gets the advantage, or whichever XE gets the slow, sort of like the slow debuff on the enemy first will also get the advantage. Because both Beefinator and Terminators are essentially the same type of XE. So any slight advantage that you can get in this 1v1 matchup would be huge. So in this case, we managed to kill off the Terminator without much of an issue here. Okay, so in this match, we're against the lineup that we are most likely weakest to, which is having the Beast backline. Because since we don't have a lot of damage output with the Plant Terminator Beefinator, it's actually pretty hard for us to get access to the Beast backline. And the Beast is going to do 15% more damage to all 3 of our axes, because we are all in the category of the Plant Bug Reptile category. No, let me correct that. We're all in the category of the plant, reptile, and dust category. Okay, so here we check out our opponent's lineup, which is the frontline plant, the midline aqua, as well as the backline Rimbeast with an hair dagger. Okay. So the most efficient attacks we can do against their front plant XE is to provide a debuff first. In this case, we don't have the Yam, so we don't have the poison to proc the debuff. So we use a Croc to get the speed down, and then to proc our 130% damage on our Tawny. So you can see that we do for 151 and 149. So pretty efficient. And in round 2, we get the good draw of our Pocky, which is a Beast card. Does 140 plus damage against his plant as well. So his plant instantly dies, goes into last stand. So the idea with having the Yam on the front line is to predict when the enemy is supposed to attack our plant, and hopefully they get all that poison stacks onto while they're attacking our plant. But in this case, the enemy kind of read the situation, actually saved on round 4 and don't get poisoned. Okay, so we're lucky enough to draw another Yam on round 4, and this time their beast actually, gets 4 stacks of poison on it. And we will see that all these stacks of poison is actually really huge, because without these stacks of poison, we actually would be struggling to win this matchup. Okay, so Aquas will not do efficient damage against our Terminator since it is of the Dust type, which is in the reptile family. And we can chomp the Aquas as well, making it harder for the Aquas to give an efficient trade of damage. Okay, so in this case, he still plays cards on his Aqua, but you can see that he missed 1 full energy attack, and because of the Snail Shell, he misses another attack. So he uses 3 energy on his Aqua cards, but he misses 2 of them to stunts. So it's quite inefficient for an Aqua to try and take down a Terminator. Okay, so this is a mistake by our enemy player here, going for overkill of beast damage. And that also really helps us with the win, because take note that we haven't touched his Beast Axie at all in this match, because his Beast Axie was in the backline all the while. But with the 4 procs of poison damage, we have actually reduced the health of the Beast Axie from 300 plus all the way down to 180. So with our 1 combo from a Beefinator here, I think we managed to kill off the Beast Axie with this 1 round of damage, and that is how we won this matchup. So without that 4 stacks of poison damage, it will actually be quite difficult for us to win this matchup against a backline beast. Right, so how much does it cost to buy this team if you want to buy and play it for yourself? So first and foremost, let's look at our Beefinator. Just a quick note that this video was made on the 29th of December 2021. So the prices are reflective of that period in time. So what I've noted also that I've been playing Axie Infinity for the past 2 months, and this is the cheapest I've seen Axie prices been in the last 2 months. Like a Beefinator, especially a Dust variant, would have easily cost 0.06 to 0.07 ETH 2 months ago, back in early November, but now the price has gone down by a lot. So first we look at our Beefinator backliner, and the Reptile variants are a little bit cheaper, but obviously you want to go for the Dust variant because it's a little bit higher health as well as faster speed as well. And as I mentioned earlier in the videos, the one with the faster speed, when in the Beefinator versus Terminator matchup, the one who goes first usually has the advantage. So if you go for something that's like this, so you want to look for something with bird and aqua parts in the eyes and ears. So something like this that that gives us 50 speed because of this bird and aqua eyes and ears parts. 51 health is decent because the highest health you can get here is having plant parts on the eyes and ears, so it goes up to 54 health. But in this matchup, I would rather get speed advantage rather than the health. So at 51 health and 50 speed, you can get one for about 160 USD. Then it's 0.042 ETH. If you are not looking to breed them, if you want one with 0 breeds, they also cost roughly around the same. Right? Some of the 0 breeds with better genes are slightly more expensive, but they're always in this range. So moving on to our Terminator midliner. So Terminators have really dropped in price a lot. So I'm not sure, because I'm just quite new to Axie Infinity as well. So I'm not sure how many seasons has the Terminator build been in Axie Infinity, but they have been bred a lot, and hence there's an influx of Terminators in the market. As you can see, all these Terminators are essentially at floor prices here, 0.021, 79 USD to 80 USD. 0.021 Ethereum. And obviously with such low prices, you can actually, if you have a little bit of a higher budget, you can go for the Dust variant, which will cost us about still just about 20 USD more. You can get a faster variant of the Terminator, faster as well as higher health. That means something like this, 42 health. Usually you want something that is faster than a pure beast, because you want to get the chomp and the stun on the beast before it moves, right? So pure beasts usually have 41 speed. So let's look for something that at least 42 speed. Maybe we can use the filter here. Look at the stats and speed. Let's go for minimum of 42 speed or higher for our midline Terminator. And you can see that it costs around 0.032 ETH or 122 USD. But obviously, if you're of a lower budget, you can skip the Dust variant and you can just focus on getting a Reptile variant that is slightly lower health, 47 health, but you can still get reptiles that are at 42 speed. That means still 1 speed faster than the enemy beast midliner. And it's still at pretty low prices, right? 0.027 to 0.028 ETH. So moving on to our frontline plant, we want something that has the Yam to proc the debuff, so that when we use our allergic reaction, which is a Thorny Caterpillar, to hit the enemy, we get the 130% damage due to hitting a debuff target, without the need for the Terminator or the Beefinator to use their speed down debuff cards. So we want the Yam, and as you can see earlier in one of the video, the poison stacks on one of their midliners or backliners really helps us in the matchup, because the benefit of running the Terminator midline as well as the Beefinator backline is that it really slows down the match a lot because of the defensive snail shells. So since it slows down the match a lot, your match is probably going to drag to like round 9 or round 10, is most likely to go into Blood Moon stage. Hence, if you have a lot of poison stacks on the enemy backliner and midliner early on in the match, like in round 1 or round 2, so that poison damage will really carry over the 10 rounds and really help us in the matchup. Okay, so you want something with Yam, something with Sirius as the mouth, because you want to have a little bit of energy manipulation, and also with having Sirius on the mouth part, it actually provides energy stealing threat to the enemy. So it makes the enemy wants to use their energy and their cards more often, which also means that they are probably more likely to attack into your plant in the earlier rounds. So that the Sirius paired with Pumpkin is actually, the Sirius paired with Yam is actually a good combination. Then obviously you want the Pumpkin for the potential brick wall and the defensive ability of the Pumpkin. And for the horns, you can either go for a Cactus, but if you're going for a Cactus, you would actually want to go for the slower speed possible. That means the pure plant at 61 health and 31 speed. But in this case, I opted to go for something that has a beast part, a beast horn, which is a Pocky or a dual blade. Because as you can see, dual blade variants, dual blade will do a little bit more damage at 130 damage as compared to the Pocky's 125 damage. So that 15% extra damage coming from the beast part, if you're using the dual blade, it will actually do more damage. So 130 damage, 20 shield, compared with the Pocky at 125 damage and 20 shield, right? Because we don't get additional beast bug allies with the Pocky, so we don't get the benefit of the Pocky's passive ability. So if you can find a cheap one here like 0.032 with the dual blade, this is actually a good buy as well. So there are cheaper ones. This one is because it's cheaper because it's I don't know why it's cheaper, but this is quite a good one at 0.025. But even if this gets bought up, so you can see that all the other ones will cost around 0.035 ETH on average, right? So if you add up the total cost of this team, that is about 0.03 for the Terminator, 0.035 for the plant, as well as 0.04 to 0.04. So this costs slightly over 0.1 ETH for the whole team. Okay, So I'm gonna show a third game, which is a losing game, to show the weakness of this team as well. So first up, we're gonna check on what our enemy has. Would be standard Plant Exi with Sirius and Pumpkin, as well as a Rim Beast with Double Nut on the mid line, pretty standard as well, and also a backline Terminator. So I want to take note to the viewers that I'm currently playing at 1300 MMR, so not super high and not super low as well. Like the team that actually carried me out of the 800 mm from the below 800 MMR range, as you've probably noted from my previous video. So this team is decent, but at this 1100 to 1300 MMR, right, I'm typically meeting like enemy teams that have a Terminator either in midline or backline, average like probably 5 to 6 times out of every 10 matches. So Terminators are very common in this 1002 to 1300 MMR. So just a heads up, if you are climbing up from the 800 MMR range all the way up to the 1001 to 1003 MMR range, you must be prepared to fight against a lot of Terminators. Okay, and here we actually get pretty bad luck here. The enemy has pretty good luck in getting all 3 beast cards on round 1. So I didn't expect the enemy to attack in round 1. So I didn't play my Pumpkin and I get wrecked by its Beast Exi. So at least we get our Pocky damage off. So 143 damage. And he ends the last stand with the Pumpkin, as well as gets the Energy Steal with 1 Sirius. Okay, so we are very behind. And I have to do the speed debuff, that means play the lagging on the Plant Exi in order to proc the extra 30% damage on our Tawny. Then here I play more Tawnies to try and get rid of the Plant Exi. So I play a Cuckoo Tawny on my Beefinator, as well as another lagging as well as Tawny on my Terminator midline. Oh no, the lagging and Tawny was from the enemy Terminator, my bad. Okay, so I actually played a Snail Shell because right now my midline Exi has become the frontline Exi. So I played a Snail Shell for defensive purposes. So what the enemy is doing here is really heads up play, is really smart. So he wants his Beast Exi to do the full round of damage against our Dust, against our midline Dust Terminator. Hence he uses his backline to try and do damage to us to proc the Snail Shell stun first, so that his Beast Exi doesn't get stunned with the follow-up damage. And you can see that his Beast Exi actually does the full damage here with the Ronin and double Imp. And he also gets the lucky crit on his last Imp as well for a total of 4 energy gain in round 4. So he ends up with round 5 with 6 energy. And we finally kill off the plant. Gets the energy back from Carrot Hammer as well. And we get actually... we don't get debuffed, but we get stunned by his Terminator, and we get a little bit of damage from his Beast as well. Okay, here I think he gives up his Beast Exi because I think his plan is to accumulate cards for the 1v1 matchup, for a Beefinator Terminator matchup. Because he's expected his Beast to die. It's because his Beast is actually slower than our Beefinator, but actually we didn't kill the Beast. And he follows up with his plan, just lets the Beast tank the damage. And he accumulates up to 8 energy in the 1v1 matchup, right? So he has a big energy lead, as well as having all 7 of his cards, just missing I think 1 Tawny, which he will draw the following round. So in this case, even though we go first, if you look at our health advantage, we are down to half health against Terminator. So since the Beefinator and Terminator are both very similar Exis, whichever one of the Exi gets the higher health lead, the higher speed, or the earlier debuffs will actually have the advantage in the matchup. Okay, so here I actually predicted that he's going to put up more than 100 hit points of shield. So I used the first 2 attacks, which is the proc and the allergic and the tawny, to proc the shield. Then I used the zero cost cocoon to clear the stun. Sorry, to proc the snail shell stun, and I used the zero cost to clear the stun. And then we stun him with the tiny turtle. So he gets the lagging debuff back on us, and he chomps us for the stun as well. So take note that he has done a lot less damage on us than what we did to the Terminator in that 1 round exchange. So the Beefinator's advantage versus Terminators is that it does do more damage than a standard Terminator because of the cocoon. But the disadvantage of the Beefinator is that it doesn't have the snail shell for that defensive stun. So we use the zero cost to clear the stun. And we do get the speed down on him and chomp, but we get stun in return. So he gets the 2 lagging on us, and actually that decides the match, because if you take note, now we have 3 speed downs compared to his 2 speed downs, so we're actually slower than the enemy Terminator. And because we're slowed and we are stunned, then that decides the next round of engagement. Like, it is essentially a knockout. It's a GG move, right? So you see that our enemy Terminator actually goes first. All he needs to play is another chomp to keep us in the stun state, and then another allergic. So because since we're in a stun state, all his attacks will actually go through our shield. So even though we put up 170 hit points worth of shield, it actually doesn't mean anything at all, since they go first as well. So he will chomp us, the 82 damage goes through our shield, and the tawny of 151 will go through our shield as well.